So this demonstration is the back routine that we'll be doing in class, but this demonstration is showing it, the same routine, on the floor, so that you have a sense of how you would work through this routine with your receiver set up on the floor. And as usual, you would prepare your receiver to have support under the ankles and have a low support under their head and perhaps upper chest to keep their spine aligned. Have your lubricant. I'm using coconut oil in a small dish where I can dip into it. And if you're having some relaxing music on, use that. Have your support that you'll be using for under the shoulder blade, have that close to you so you can get right to that when you move to the side. We'll start with making contact on top of your sheet. Just moving forward a little bit, using your torso weight, getting a sense of the area that you'll be working on, and just giving your receiver the message that you'll be working on their back. Okay? Taking the sheet, and I've also have a blanket on to make it warmer for my receiver, tucking the sheet just around their shorts so that you expose that lower back so you can easily work there. And then you take some of your coconut oil or massage cream and begin with the first step of effleurage, keeping your hands with fingers together, sliding down to the lower back. When your fingers reach the top of the sacrum bone, you separate your hands to go to the side body, up along the side, over top of the shoulders, and then repeat. I'm going to add a little bit more oil if needed. And you repeat this, providing a repetitive motion, keeping the same rhythm. You could increase the pressure slightly each time if you wish, as your hands become more familiar with the terrain that you're working on for the back. And one last time we'll do our effleurage. Again, we're moving down. I'm on my knees, moving forward, separating my hands to the side body, feeling ribs as I come up over the top of the shoulders. My fingers come to each side of the neck. And then I'm ready for step two. Step two, I have my thumbs close to the vertebrae. I'm moving one thumb toward the vertebrae and then away, the other thumb toward the vertebrae away, and alternating. The first time I move down the spine, I want to work particularly slowly. I want to make sure I have pressure, but it's exploration, getting a sense of the pressure that their body is willing to receive, getting a sense of their spine. And you would have spoken to them ahead of time, just checking to make sure that there are no spinal injuries that you'll be working alongside. You'd be avoiding any types of severe spine injury. When you get to the lower back, you separate your hands and come up the same way you had been doing with each effleurage. And then you repeat again. You could do that a few times. So the last time that you move down the torso, and each time you move your thumb, you're just moving the length of perhaps a vertebrae. So usually not more than an inch with each thumb, providing pressure through your thumb pad. So your torso weight goes through your thumb pad. You might feel the side of the vertebrae. The last time you do this and you come down to the lower back, you're ready for the third intro step. And I take both of my thumbs to one side of the lower back so that I can lean in beside the lower vertebrae. My thumbs bump into the top of the pelvic bone at the back part so that I'm working just on that little corner with both thumbs on one side of the vertebrae, leaning one thumb following the other. Then I work on the other side. And this is because there can be such a difference in terms of the type of pressure that can be, that particular part, that side is open to receiving, and then you can work to what that pressure, work to give the pressure that's needed for that side more easily if you work one side at a time. And when you finish that, again, you separate your hands, go to the side body, up the shoulders, just as you did with any of the effleurages you were working before. You end up with your hands, again, bottom of the palm, near the base of the neck. And you keep your hands there and you move as well as you can. I'm moving with one hand and one hand off. And I come to the side, and my hands will come to the area that I'm working on first, and that is just at the base of the neck. I'm kneading with both hands. If you find you're just going to knead with one hand, then keep one hand on the shoulder for support as you work with the other. Your person might be facing right in the area that you're working. You could ask them to turn the other way, but it's not necessary. Usually an individual will just turn their neck and to the side that is most comfortable. If it doesn't make any difference for them, then you could ask them to turn the other way, and you can just explore how they're having their face turned in the opposite direction allows you to work differently. So we move on to step 2. And this is where we take the base of the palm, bring it to the lower back. I'm just on one side of the spine. I have my other hand crossing right over. I'm leaning forward, bringing the hand around over the top of the shoulder and repeating this several times. The last time that I do that, I will begin to raise the shoulder and place an elevation underneath the shoulder so that I can elevate the shoulder blade a little bit and work more deeply on the side of the shoulder blade that is facing the spine. And here you can practice a variety of ways of working with your thumbs and fingers. You could use the side of your hand You could choose to use your knuckles, moving in slowly, checking in with your receiver to see if the pressure is right for them at this time and for this shoulder. Then you always sweep around, bring the shoulder down. The last time you do that, you slightly elevate the shoulder, take the support out, and begin with your step number 4, which is the skin rolling. With skin rolling, you will glue your thumbs together, give pressure downwards, and move your thumbs up towards the head as you pull down with your fingers. So you create a slight roll in the tissue as you move up. That's step number 4. And then you move right into skin rolling, but you're turning your body so that now you're perpendicular. Reaching right over to the side body, feel the ribs as you go along the middle of their torso, as though you're pulling one side to meet the other side. Fingers are together so that you lift up the tissue as they cross beside each other. You can give a little benefit to the tissue around the spine, as well as chance to give some work to the side body, and move all the way up towards the neck. When you get to the neck, you realize it's time to move to the other side. So you move yourself to the other side, keeping one hand in contact with your receiver until you end up with your hands right again at the base of the neck. And here we do this one transition step where we're going to do some tapotement right on each side of the spine, only between the spine and the shoulder blade, and only staying in this place, not moving down at all along the spine, just the upper back area. Again, not hitting any bone. And when you finish, you rest your hands again in that same position, and you move yourself to the other side. And I'm walking on my knees around to the other side. It seems to be the most efficient way to work here. So you may want to make sure that you're working on carpet or have a blanket spread wide enough so you can walk around on your knees comfortably. So you want to stay comfortable as well as you're working. Okay. Now that you're on the other side, you can decide if you want to have your receiver turn their head the other way or not. Just working the area between the base of their neck and the top of their shoulder, kneading in this area, squeezing and lifting, checking in with them, how the pressure is, moving in slowly and then moving in more deeply as their tissue invites deeper work. That's step number 1. And again, we're doing the same 5 steps that we did before. So the second step is to take the base of your hand that's closest to the spine, right by the spine, and lean all the way up to the area you would work before, and bring the shoulder down so you add to the work that you were just doing with that initial step, bringing the whole shoulder down. And leaning over so that you have the weight of your torso moving through this very broad stroke, because you're using your whole hand. You could do this forever and there'd be no complaints. You're never going to work too deeply. That's step number 2. And step number 3 is where we elevate the shoulder once again, So you can experiment. This shoulder will have a different story than the last one, and we want to just emphasize the work that is between the shoulder blade and the spine, just that area for this side. Again, see if you want to use your knuckles, see if you want to, you could even do a little skin roll in that area. Now that you've learned how to do that, you could have thumbs on thumbs, fingers on fingers, side hand vibration, knuckles moving back and forth. Just be creative in that area. And then the last time you do that, you slightly lift up the shoulder, bring the elevation away and the shoulder back down. And then you move into step number 4. This is our skin rolling. Again, remember gluing the thumbs together, giving pressure as you lean in, and rolling the tissue with your fingers as though you were climbing a ladder over the top of the shoulder, coming down again, and repeating that as often as you like. And generally, we're going to stick close to the spine with this. If the person has a broader back, you could do a few rows close to the spine and then a few rows a little bit more lateral to those, to the first row. And afterward, we move right into the crossover stroke. Again, whole hand friction, keeping hands together. You want to have some grip here. If you're too slidey, maybe you have too much oil on your hands, you can always just wipe that off so that you can have some grip as you're going from side to side, so that you are lifting some of the tissue. When you finish that, you're ready to do the 3 final steps to say goodbye to your receiver, goodbye to the back, and this particular routine for the back massage. Our first goodbye step is the forearm smoothie. And this is a general just a general stroke, very light, we do with our forearms, but you want to just create an angle for your forearms where so that you're not feeling the bony part of your forearm against their spine. Begin in the middle, move towards the base of their back, the base of the neck. Lift up your arms and repeat. So it's very broad. It's not that deep, but just covering a wide area. And the very last time that you do that, just pause for a moment as though we're slowing down, beginning to say goodbye. Lift up one of your hands and then have your self move back to the original position by their head. Try and keep one hand connected if you can as you move around. And our second goodbye step is doing the effleurage just as you did initially. And you'll find that you can sink in more easily because their back has been relaxing. So you're going at a slow rhythm still though. Do that at least 3 times, covering all the areas that you've worked. And then when you get to the lower back for the last time, I want you to take each of your thumbs to each side of the lower back, and right beside the lower lumbar, as low as your thumbs can be, you're going to lean in. You're providing some traction as you lean in, and through your thumb pads, you're bringing your torso weight. And the direction of this pressure is going to your receiver's heels. So it's not straight down, and it's going in the direction of their heels. It's as though you were pushing away their lower back, or I should say their lower body from their upper body. Can be a very deep pressure if you lean in with your torso. And maybe you stay there for 6 or 10 seconds. Leaning in and then separating your hands, bringing a firm effleurage to the sides, the shoulders, up to the neck, putting both of your hands there, pausing, taking the sheet up with one hand, covering the back once again, and then bringing both of your hands on top. And again, just being present. Taking a breath. And then lifting your hands. So that's the routine for basic massage, back routine on the floor.